Hey everybody. Well, I'm finally getting on here with my next Stories in a Song video today. And it is about a song called Words by the Bee Gees. And in the background here, on the TV back there, you can see that is the Bee Gees performing Words back in 1968, which is when the song was released. It was co-written by the three members of the Bee Gees, the three main brothers of the Bee Gees, Barry Gibb, Maurice Gibb, and Robin Gibb. This is my third Bee Gees song on my YouTube playlist, my karaoke songs, and my third in a row, and my 318th video on there in total, which make up 340 songs altogether. This is another one of those songs that I heard on the oldies radio station when I was a kid. I haven't sung this before until today. I will dedicate this video to my karaoke friend Mary Karen Monroe, who I've heard sing this song several times at Dooley's Bar here in Miramichi. The rights holders of the song don't allow it to be put on Carafun, so I'm using Atomic Karaoke once again for the backing track. Now here's some information about the story behind the song and some background to the writing of Words. Barry Gibb explained in the liner notes for the Horizontal album, quote, "Words was written by me at Adams Row when I was staying at Robert Stigwood's place. A lot of people began to cover that song, so over the years it's become a bit like To Love Somebody. I didn't know it wasn't on an album. That's strange how it used to work in those days. We used to bang singles out one after another," unquote. Robin Gibb, in Andrew Hughes' book The Bee Gees, Tales of the Brothers Gibb, said, quote, "Words reflects a mood. It was written after an argument. Barry had been arguing with someone, I had been arguing with someone, and happened to be in the same mood. The arguments were about absolutely nothing. They were just words. That is what the song is all about. Words can make you happy or words can make you sad," unquote. Barry Gibb said in 1996 on the VH1 Storytellers television show that it was written for their manager, Robert Stigwood. Now, I want to tell you all about a bit about the songwriters of Words. Barry Gibb, Maurice Gibb, and Robin Gibb. So first off, Barry Gibb, he has written or co-written 194 songs that have been released by more than one artist, including Words, from Claustrophobia, originally by the Bee Gees in August 1964, to Angel of Mercy, originally by Maurice Gibb on November 15th, 2010. His most covered song is How Deep Is Your Love, originally by the Bee Gees in November 1977, which has been covered by 342 different artists. I will have that song on a video in the near future, as it is on the list of Bee Gees songs that I am going to do in the near future. Let's see here. Words is Barry Gibb's fourth most covered song, having been covered by 184 different artists. And now, a little bit about Maurice Gibb. As a songwriter, Maurice Gibb, here we go. I think. Wait a sec here. Gotta find Massachusetts, the song that Maurice Gibb was involved in writing that I've done already, where I wrote this up. So I didn't have to write it all out for this video. Maurice Gibb has written or co-written 138 songs that have been released by more than one artist, including Words, from the aforementioned Like Nobody Else, to the aforementioned Angel of Mercy. His most covered song is the aforementioned How Deep Is Your Love. Now back to the other script for Words. Isn't this fun? So Words is Maurice Gibb's third most covered song. And finally, a little bit about the third co-writer of the song, Robin Gibb. As a songwriter, find this again. So many sheets, goodness. Robin Gibb. Now, where's he? Robin Gibb. Here we go. Robin Gibb has written or co-written 151 songs that have been released by more than one artist, including Words, from Like Nobody Else, originally by the Bee Gees in 1966, to the aforementioned Angel of Mercy. His most covered song is the aforementioned How Deep Is Your Love? And back to the words script now. For Robin, Words is Robin Gibb's fourth most covered song. Now, here's some information about the original recording of Words. Words was originally intended for Cliff Richard, but he never got around to recording the track as he wasn't making an album at the time. Rather than wasting the song, the Bee Gees decided to record it themselves. Words was recorded on October 3rd, 1967, along with World and the unreleased and never finished track Mackleby's Secret at the IBC Studios in London. The song featured vocals from only Barry Gibb and became his solo spot in concert for the remainder of the Bee Gees' career. The recording sessions for Words were especially memorable for two members of the group. Barry explained, quote, "I remember the first session so clearly. Robin and I were in the studios at 9 o'clock in the morning, and Robin kept on falling asleep over the piano." Sounds like something I do over my supper when I'm too tired. I wanted him to write the piano part of the song and play it because I'm not much of a pianist, but he just couldn't keep his eyes open, so I ended up doing it myself, unquote. Words was also the showcase for a new piano sound. As Maurice Gibb explained, quote, "We accidentally discovered the sound on Words. When we were recording it, after everyone had gone to lunch, I was sitting at the piano mucking about, and I wrote a riff. I went upstairs and switched on the mic for the piano, and then I started playing about with the knobs in front of me. When I played the tape back, I had all these incredible compressed piano noises. Mike Clayton at IBC Studios, who engineered all our records, then said, quote, 'What the hell was that?' when he heard the piano sound. 'Come up here and listen to that sound,' he said. It was just compression, but he didn't know what to call it then. I think he called it limited. It made the piano sound like it was about 40 pianos playing at the same time and very, very thick. In Words, it was very beautiful, but that sound on it made it sound like the LA Symphony on it. If you listen to all our records, the piano sound is on it," unquote. And according to sound engineer Damon Lyon Shaw, quote, "I was the one that actually devised it. Mike Clayton was the one who took the credit for it, but I was actually piddling around at the time as his junior. On the mixer at the time, we had compressors. Maurice was playing at piano at the time, just piddling around, and I started feeding the piano into a series of these compressors and then screwed them up until he got his lovely metallic sort of sucking sound, and that was the birth of that sound. Maurice assumed it was Michael, so he took the credits," unquote. Another sound engineer, John Pantry, offered to put things in a proper perspective, quote, "Well, Damon didn't make the compressor limiter, and my memory is that we all used to use that sound once we discovered what it did to piano notes. As to who got there first is open to debate. The sound was unique because it was a homemade device that was made by a guy called Dennis King," unquote. Personnel involved in the recording were Barry Gibb on lead vocals and rhythm guitar, Maurice Gibb on bass, piano, and mellotron, Robin Gibb on harmony vocals, Vince Maloney on rhythm guitar, Colin Peterson on drums, and Bill Shepard on orchestral arrangement. Incidentally, this is at least the second Bee Gees song that was originally intended for another artist, as Massachusetts had been intended for the Seekers. Now here is some information about the release of Words. Before the Bee Gees released it, in late 1967, the song had a theatrical release when it was included in the United Screen Arts film The Mini Mob, US title The Mini Affair, where it was sung by Georgie Fame. The Bee Gees released it as a single in January 1968 on Polydor in the UK and Atco in the US, co-produced by Robert Stigwood and the Bee Gees, with B-side Sinking Ships. This B-side was one of very few songs by the Bee Gees to feature all three brothers on lead vocals, Barry and Robin Gibb in the verses and Maurice Gibb on the song's chorus. The group performed this song on The Ed Sullivan Show in 1968, with Barry Gibb on vocals, Maurice Gibb on bass, Robin Gibb on piano, Vince Maloney on guitar, and Colin Peterson on drums. On that performance, Maloney is playing a Gibson ES-335, and Maurice is playing a Rickenbacker 4001. Some backing vocals near the end are heard only on the mono mix, used on the single, some compilations, and the studio album's 1967 to 1968 box set. Mixes for Words suffered many different problems. Since it was originally used only as a single, no stereo mix was made until Atlantic wanted one for the Best of Bee Gees album in 1969, where it made its first appearance on LP. A stereo mix with the piano, bass, and drums mixed down and the vocals pushed forward was made, which fans were dissatisfied with. Polydor in the UK instead chose to use the mono mix on their version of the album. In 1990, Bill Inglot prepared an improved stereo mix. While doing so, he noticed that 2 short sections of backing vocal near the end of the song were on the mono mix but not on the 4-track master, as if Barry added them while the mono mix was made. The studio albums 1967 to 1968 used the original mono mix. The arrangement used in Georgie Fame's theatrical release was also done by Bill Shepherd. Now here's some information about the criticism of the Words single. In Billboard magazine's January 13, 1968 issue on page 52, a review in which the group name is erroneously given as Bees Bees, and the single is predicted to reach the top 20 of the Hot 100 chart, states, quote, "Group has not missed the top 20 since their initial New York mining disaster, and this hot follow-up, let's see now, where's the next page? Uh-oh. Oh my goodness. This hot follow-up to Massachusetts has all the ingredients to go right to the top. Emotional ballad reading is exceptional," unquote. And in Cashbox magazine's issue of the same date on page 18, in their Picks of the Week section, a review stated, quote, beautiful ballad line with a semi-soft, somewhat rock sound obtained by the use of near-classic piano, soaring strings, and a pop percussion for rhythm give the Bee Gees new chart-riding material. Brilliant vocal lead and superb material add up to another notch on the burgeoning hit roster of the British crew, unquote. A couple of advertisements also promoted the single. In Billboard's January 20th issue on page 7, the Bee Gees share space with fellow Atco artists the Fireballs single, Bottle of Wine. Words is called their biggest yet, while Bottle of Wine is heading for the top. The Fireballs, whose Sugar Shack was a 5-week #1 5 years before, outperformed the Bee Gees on the charts with Bottle of Wine, as we will soon find out more about. And Cashbox, on page 19 of their February 17th issue, printed an ad in which called the Bee Gees' current album, Horizontal, a quote, hit album, the Word single, a quote, hit single, and their concert at Anaheim, California's Convention Center on January 27th, a quote, hit concert, unquote. The ad featured a reprint of the New York Times review of the concert, a Western Union telegram from Atco Records to the Bee Gees, and a photo of the concert itself. The New York Times article of January 29th was by Robert Windler, and the headline read, "Screams, Squeals, Welcome Bee Gees Coast Teenagers Turn Out for Pop Group's U.S. Bow." The article read, quote, "The screamers and squealers among American teenagers once again had something to scream about. The Bee Gees gave their first American concerts here last night. Pop music groups are back in a big way in Britain, and the Bee Gees are now leading in popularity there. They are considered the most exciting British export in the field since the Beatles. In their 2 concerts last night, backed by a 30-piece orchestra, they sang simple but subtle songs, all self-written. Their sound is uncomplicated and with 23 strings, a harp, and 6 horns, even sweet," unquote. The telegram read, quote, "Congratulations, Bee Gees, on your fantastic record-breaking concert debut in Los Angeles. Your performance with your 30-piece orchestra was superb. Hats off to Robert Stigwood for a most beautiful production," unquote. And now here's some information about the chart performance of the Words single. On the weekly charts, the single peaked at #1 in Canada, the Netherlands, Switzerland, and West Germany, #3 in the Flanders region of Belgium, #4 in Austria, #5 in South Africa, #7 in Norway, #8 in the UK, their 3rd UK top 10 hit, #9 in the Wallonia region of Belgium and New Zealand, #11 in Italy, #13 in Australia, #14 in Ireland, #15 in Spain and on US Billboard, #19 in Chile, Japan, and on the US Cashbox, #20 on US Record World, and #38 in Finland. On the year-end charts for 1968, the single ranked #7 in Norway, #10 in Switzerland, #11 in Austria, #18 in the Netherlands, #20 in the Flanders region of Belgium, and #50 in Canada. Digging a little deeper into the single's North American chart performance, on the Canadian RPM 100 chart, Words entered the chart on January 20th at #74. when The Rose Garden was at number 1 with Next Plane to London. Words entered the top 40 on February 10th at number 26, when The Foundations held the top spot with Baby Now That I've Found You. Words peaked at number 1 on March 9th, proving once again that us Canadians know a great song when we hear one. It replaced I Can Take or Leave Your Loving by Herman's Hermits in the number 1 spot. Interesting to note that none of these Canadian number 1s even made the top 10 in the US on the Hot 100. This proves that us Canadians have our own unique taste in music and don't just follow everything exactly like Americans. A week later, on March 16th, Words was replaced at number 1 by 1910 Fruit Gum Company's Simon Says. Incidentally, another Canadian number 1 song that didn't do as well in the US. I rest my case. Words spent 7 weeks in the top 40 and charted for 10 in Canada. On the Billboard Hot 100, Words entered the chart at number 79 on January 20th, when Judy in Disguise with Glasses by John Fred and his Playboy Band spent its first of 2 weeks on top. Words entered the top 40 on February 10th at number 32, giving the Bee Gees their 5th career US top 40 hit. At this time, Love is Blue by Paul Maurice and his orchestra was in the first of a 5-week run at number 1. Words peaked at number 15 on March 2nd. It was beaten out from charting higher by the aforementioned Love is Blue, which still had 1 more week left in its chart-topping run. And I happen to have an album by Paul Maurice, which my mom had back in the 60s, which contains the song Love is Blue on there. I showed this album before on a video, and it was one of the cover version type songs that was in there with a different song that I was doing at the time. But this time here, get to show it again. I love the show and tell section of these videos all the time. And now, what else do we have here? Number 2, beaten out from charting higher by the number 2 song, which was Theme from the Valley of the Dolls by Dionne Warwick, was number 2. Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding was number 3, which would go on to replace Love is Blue in the top spot and enjoy its own 4-week run there. I Wish It Would Rain by The Temptations at number 4, a 3-week number 1 on the R&B chart. The aforementioned Simon Says at number 5. Spooky by Classics 4 at number 6. Just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in by The First Edition at number 7. I Wonder What She's Doing Tonight by Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart at number 8. The aforementioned Bottle of Wine by the Fireballs at number 9, beating the Bee Gees. Everything That Touches You by The Association at number 10. The aforementioned Baby Now That I've Found You at number 11. Nobody But Me by The Human Beings at number 12. Going Out of My Head, Can't Take My Eyes Off You by The Letterman at number 13. And Green Tambourine by The Lemon Pipers at number 14, which preceded Love is Blue and succeeded Judy in Disguise with Glasses at number 1 for 1 week. Words spent 8 weeks in the top 40 and charted for 11 on the Hot 100. On the Cashbox Top 100, Words entered the chart on January 20th at number 67, when Chain of Fools by Aretha Franklin was in the number 1 spot for its only week, though it spent 4 weeks atop the R&B chart. It entered the top 40 on February 3rd at number 33, when the aforementioned Green Tambourine was number 1. Words peaked at number 19 on March 9th. It was kept from going higher on the chart by 10 of the same songs that beat it on the Hot 100, plus 8 different ones. The top 7 were all the same. In order they were, starting from number 1, Love is Blue, Simon Says, Valley of the Dolls, The Dock of the Bay, I Wish It Would Rain, Spooky, and Just Dropped In. Number 8 was different. Walk Away Renee by the Four Tops, which the Left Bank had a top 5 hit with in 1966. Number 9 was the same, Bottle of Wine. Then a different song at number 10, I Thank You by Sam and Dave. Number 11 was a repeat, Everything That Touches You. Then the next 5 were all different. Too Much Talk by Paul Revere and the Raiders. We're a Winner by The Impressions, a number 1 R&B hit. Kiss Me Goodbye by Petula Clark. The End of Our Road by Gladys Knight and the Pips. And La La Means I Love You by the Delphonics. Number 17 was a repeat, I Wonder What She's Doing Tonight, and a different one at number 18, Since You've Been Gone by Aretha Franklin. Words spent 8 weeks in the top 40 and charted for 12 on the Cashbox Top 100. And on the Record World Top 100 Top Pops, Words entered the chart on January 20th at number 77, when the aforementioned Judy in Disguise with Glasses was on top. It entered the top 40 on February 17th at number 35, when the aforementioned Love is Blue was number 1. Words peaked at number 20 on March 9th. It was kept from going higher on the chart by 18 of the same songs that beat it on either Billboard or Cashbox, plus one different one. The top 16 were all the same. Starting from the top, they were Valley of the Dolls, Simon Says, Love is Blue, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, I Wish It Would Rain, I Wonder What She's Doing Tonight, Bottle of Wine, We're a Winner, Walk Away Renee, Everything That Touches You, Just Dropped In, Spooky, I Thank You, Too Much Talk, La La Means I Love You, and Since You've Been Gone. The different one was at number 17, There Is by the Dells. Numbers 18 and 19 were the same, The End of Our Road and Kiss Me Goodbye. Words spent 5 weeks in the top 40 and charted for 9 on the Record World 100 Top Pops. And now, here is some information about the cover versions of Words. 205 cover versions of Words have been released to date, making it the 41st most covered work of all works released in 1967. What a Wonderful World, originally by Louis Armstrong, is number 1 on that list with 1,093 covers and 26 adaptations. 28 adaptations of Words have been released to date. Of the 205 cover versions, 115 of them are in English with original music and lyrics, 43 are instrumentals, 1 is in Chinese, 2 are in Czech, 3 are in Danish, 2 are in Finnish, 2 are in French, 5 are in German, 2 are in Hungarian, 1 is in Icelandic, 6 are in Italian, 2 are in Norwegian, 4 are in Portuguese, 9 are in Spanish, and 8 are in Swedish. Of the 115 English versions, I am familiar with artists involved in 31 of them. I will talk about the first 10 of those in chronological order. So first by American singer, bassist, guitarist, and actor Glenn Campbell in November 1968 on his Capitol Records album, Wichita Lineman. The album cover has a gray background with a color photo of Campbell smiling, leaning slightly forward, wearing a brown jacket and red shirt with white dots on it. The album title is in the top right corner in white capital letters, with the artist name below in larger pink capital letters. Below that is the track list in purple letters. The album also includes Campbell's original release of That's Not Home, which was originally recorded by Mel Tillis, and his original recording and release of the title track, along with his covers of Billy Ed Wheeler's original and, not the same song as the Tommy Overstreet hit with the same title, Chris Gantry's original Dreams of the Everyday Housewife, a hit for Campbell, Jacques Brel avec Francois Robet et son orchestre, and Rod McEwen's original If You Go Away. And I happen to have here from my mom also a couple of Rod McEwen albums that she loved him. Was one of her favorite artists back in the late 60s, I think. Late 60s. We have here Rod McEwen at Carnegie Hall, his birthday concert, recorded live on April 29th, 1969. And on this album is that very song. It is right on here on that album. On this album. And also, the song If You Go Away is also on this album of Rod McEwen called Greatest Hits of Rod McEwen. Woohoo, there it is, right there. You can see it up there in the track listing, If You Go Away. Right on. Great artist-poet, that guy Rod McEwen was. But like the Canadian Git Forrester was. Now back to the script, here we go. So we have Rod McEwen's original, If You Go Away. Tim Hardin's original, Reason to Believe, was on that Glenn Campbell album. A song that I'm familiar with from Rod Stewart's hit version. Otis Redding's original, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. Sonny Curtis's original, The Straight Life, and Cher's original, You Better Sit Down, Kids. Second cover version by UK retired pop singer Sandy Shaw. In November 1968 on her Pie Records album, The Sandy Shaw Supplement. And the album cover has a color photo of Shaw behind the steering wheel of a green car of unknown model, her left hand on the wheel, wearing driving goggles, a blue hood on her head, and blue long-sleeved shirt. A cloudless blue sky is in the background. The photo is shot from a low angle. The album title is displayed across the top of the car door in yellow capital letters. The album also includes Shaw's original Our Song of Love, along with her covers of the King Cole Trio's original Get Your Kicks on Route 66, Chad and Jeremy's original recording, and Simon Garfunkel's original release of Homeward Bound. That's another thing that I have here is a album of Simon and Garfunkel from way back when my mom had this album. She told me she used to play Bridge Over Troubled Water on the 8-track in the car on her way from Ottawa to Winnipeg, way back in around 1970 or so. Late 60s, early 70s type of thing. That is the album Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel. Doesn't include the song though. Just thought I'd show that to you. So that was Simon and Garfunkel. And what else do we have here? The Rolling Stones original was on the Sandy Shaw album, I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Lenny Welch's original, Right to Cry. Gordon Heath and Lee Payant's original, Scarborough Fair, a song which, with altered music and lyrics, was also a hit for Simon and Garfunkel. And Gilbert Bécaud, orchestral director Raymond Bernard. And Jane Morgan's original, What Now, My Love. The third cover version was by UK group The Bill Shepherd Singers, led by the Bee Gees arranger Bill Shepherd. In 1968, on their Atco Records album, the Bill Shepherd Singers sing Bee Gees' hits, Aurora. I described the album cover in my last video for Massachusetts. The album is a tribute to the Bee Gees, and all 12 of the songs are covers of Bee Gees originals. Fourth, by American singer, songwriter, and producer Nora Wilson, in February 1969 on his Smash album, dedicated to Only You. The album cover has a color photo of Wilson at night, with light shining on the left side of his face in front of a white door or window frame, wearing a white shirt. The artist's name is in the top left corner in blue capital letters. The album title is below in smaller brown capital letters. The track list is in the top right corner above and beside his head in smaller brown capital letters than the album title. The album also includes Wilson's original, Mama McCluskey, along with his covers of Kitty Wells' original, All the Time, a hit for Jack Green, Roger Miller's original, Little Green Apples, Orchestre Georges Boulanger, Joe Loss and his band, vocalist Chick Henderson's original release, and Ambrose and his orchestra's original recording of My Prayer, which I know from the Platters version. Two Platters originals, Only You and You Alone, and The Great Pretender, and Umberto Bindi, Cilla Black accompaniment directed by Johnny Pearson's original, You're My World. Fifth, by American country, gospel, and pop singer and musician Tennessee Ernie Ford. And here is Tennessee Ernie Ford albums that my mom had. Got one here called Sings from the Book of Favorite Hymns, or from his Book of Favorite Hymns. Check that one out right there. Right on. And there's another one here too. Tennessee Ernie Ford with a nice close-up picture of his face, head. Wonderful Peace. Another inspired hymns, never before recorded by Ernie. There you go. Tennessee Ernie Ford. You can see where I got my indoctrination on all this old music from. It was my mom, for sure. Yep, and now, back to this list here. We have Tennessee Ernie Ford. Way down here. On May 5th, 1969 was when he recorded, or released, Words on his album, Capitol Records album, The New Wave, Pop plus Country plus Folk. The album cover has a color photo of Ford smiling, sitting in a black vinyl chair with white back, wearing a white sweater. The artist name, album title, and track list are all in the top left corner, one below the other in that order. Everything is in white capital letters except for the main album title, which is in orange. The word Tennessee in the artist name is in the smallest type, with the Ernie Ford part in the biggest. The album also includes Ford's covers of Bobby Russell's original, 1432 Franklin Pike Circle Hero, Don Cherry's original recording, not the hockey coach, the singer, of Band of Gold was his famous song, Don Cherry's original recording and Don Gibson's original release of Good Morning Dear, Johnny Darrell's original, Green Green Grass of Home, Wynn Stewart's original, It's Such a Pretty World Today, which I will have on a future video because it's in my collection, Al Martino's original, Mary in the Morning. And once again, one of my mom's favorite singers, Al Martino. And I happen to have an album of Al Martino here, which contains the song Mary in the Morning on it, which you can probably see there up in the corner with the track list. That is called Al Martino, Daddy's Little Girl. Yep, another one of my mom's favorites, Al Martino. Okay, next we have, let's see here. El Martino, Mary in the Morning. Otis Redding's original, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay again. It's amazing how many times some of these songs pop up on these cover versions albums. Which was also on the Glenn Campbell album I mentioned earlier, Dock of the Bay. And speaking of that album, Campbell conducted by Al DeLore's original, Wichita Lineman. Sixth by UK pop music singer, actress, and TV presenter Cilla Black on May 23rd, 1969 on her Parlophone album, Surround Yourself with Cilla. The album cover has a color photo of Black standing with her left leg crossed in front of her right against an orange wall, smiling with her hands behind her, wearing a pink matching blouse, belt, and skirt with flowers of white, pink, and red contained within shapes that resemble butterflies. The album title is to her left in yellow capital letters, shaped in a psychedelic style so the title forms a circle. The album also includes Black's original, Surround Yourself with Sorrow, which serves as the title track, along with Black's covers of the original Broadway cast of Hair's original, Aquarius, Tim Hardin's original, It'll Never Happen Again, Jacqueline and Bridie's original, Liverpool Lullaby, Lucio Battisti's original, Only Forever Will Do, The Circle's original, Red Rubber Ball, Nelson's original, Without You, which Black performed as Without Him, and Dionne Warwick's original, You'll Never Get to Heaven If You Break My Heart. And I have, guess what, folks, another album. Dionne Warwick from my mom, which is called Make Way for Dionne Warwick, which also contains this song, You'll Never Get to Heaven. It's first song on side B on here. As you might be able to see on the back here, it says side B, You'll Never Get to Heaven, backwards probably on the screen there as it's looking there, but yep, another album from my mom's collection, which is now my collection. And so we continue on with Dionne Warwick here. Let's see, where were we? Yep, there it is, 7th. The next cover version is by American singer and actress Gloria Loring in September 1969 on her Evolution album, And Now We Come to Distances. I always thought Gloria Loring was Canadian because she was married to a Canadian, Alan Thicke, but nope, she was American. The album cover has a color headshot of photo of Loring, the edges of which are blended into a white background. Loring is half smiling and wearing a high white collar. The artist's name is at the top in black cursive with the album title below in the same script, only smaller. I actually wrote the word cursing at first when I wrote the script out, and I thought, I better change that to cursive, yeah. The album also includes Loring's covers of the Youngbloods original, Darkness, Darkness, Fred Neil's original, Everybody's Talking, which I know from Harry Nilsson's hit version and made a video of, which is on my playlist at number 109, Judy Collins' original, Hey, That's No Way to Say Goodbye, Jackie DeShannon's original, Hollywood, Chuck Jackson's original recording, and Tommy Hunt, arranged and conducted by Burt Bacharach's original release, I Just Don't Know What to Do With Myself, John Denver's original, Leaving on a Jet Plane, John Hartford's original, Natural to Be Gone, Noel Harrison's original, The Windmills of Your Mind, which Ed Ames actually recorded on an album, was the title of an album that he had, which I showed you guys in another video recently. And the third time this song has shown up in the cover versions section today. Here we go again. Glenn Campbell, conducted by Al DeLore's original, Wichita Lineman. 8th by American King of Rock and Roll, Elvis Presley, with the Sweet Inspirations and the Imperials Quartet on October 14th, 1969, a live version on Presley's RCA Victor double album, From Memphis to Vegas, Elvis in person at the International Hotel, From Vegas to Memphis, Elvis back in Memphis. The album cover has a black and white photo of Presley performing on stage in black leather jacket and black pants on a black background. The album title is at the very top and to the right of the photo, with From Memphis to Vegas in gray print, the artist's first name spelled out in multicolored dots as if on a marquee, in person in white capitals with a small lowercase white at the words at the, an International Hotel in bigger red capitals, and Las Vegas, Nevada in smaller red print. In the bottom right corner on a yellow background with red border is the track list under Recorded on Stage in Las Vegas. This version of Words is rated the third best. The Bee Gees version is rated the best on secondhandsongs.com. The album also includes Presley's originals, A Little Bit of Green, Do You Know Who I Am?, Inherit the Wind, which was actually written by Eddie Rabbitt, who also wrote another Elvis song, Cold Kentucky Rain, This Is the Story, and You'll Think of Me, along with his covers of Neil Diamond's original and The Grass Won't Pay No Mind, Ned Miller's original From a Jack to a King, which I'll have on a future video, Don Gibson's original, I Can't Stop Loving You, which again I'll have on a future video. One of my favorite songs, Chuck Berry's original, Johnny Be Good, which I've sung many times at doolies. Florida Normal Industrial Institute Quartet and Little Walter and his Jukes original, My Babe. Percy Mayfield's original, Stranger in My Own Hometown. And Clyde McPhatter's original, Without Love There Is Nothing. Ninth by American singer, television personality, and game show host John Davidson in 1969 on his self-titled Columbia album released in April 1969. The album cover has a color photo of Davidson smiling, wearing a dark brown jacket over a lighter brown turtleneck sweater with blue cloudless sky fading to purple in the background. The artist's name is at the top right corner in white print, with the track listing below in smaller print of various colors including black, red, blue, green, orange, purple, brown, and gray. The album also includes Davidson's covers of Joni Mitchell's original recording and Judy Collins' original release of Both Sides Now, James Darren's original Didn't We, Jesse Belvin's original Good Night My Love, Pleasant Dreams, Steve Lawrence's original I've Gotta Be Me, Roger Miller's original Little Green Apples, the second time it has shown up in the cover versions today, the Beatles' original Obla-Di Ola-Da, Classics 4's original Stormy, Judy Collins' original release and the Stormy Clover's original performance Suzanne, Alexander Vertinsky and the Limelighters' original Those Were the Days. Used to sing that in music class in school, I remember. And the Vogue's original Woman Helping Man. Also in 1969, Davidson released Words on a Columbia single as the B-side to Ray Peterson Orchestra and Chorus conducted by Shorty Rogers' original The Wonder of You, which I know from the Elvis Presley hit version. And 10th by American folk singing group from Seattle, Washington, The Brothers Four in 1969 in a medley with I've Gotta Get a Message to You and I Started a Joke on their Columbia album Let's Get Together. The album cover has a color photo of the group members, two in front and two behind, in a staggered pose, each wearing a sweater over a white shirt. The two farthest to the right have brown sweaters, the one on the far left has a black, red, and white striped, and the other's is white. The background is white with the glow of sunlight. The album title is at the top right in purple capital letters. The group name is below that in larger red capitals. In purple capitals, the same size as the album title, is the subtitle, Sing the Great Songs of Today. Below that, in smaller black print, is the track list. The album also includes the Brothers Four's covers of Dion's original, Abraham, Martin, and John, which I have on my YouTube video playlist at number 128. The aforementioned Both Sides Now, this is its second appearance in the covers section today. Bobby Goldsboro's original, Glad She's a Woman. Bob Dylan's original, I'll Be Your Baby Tonight. Dino Valenti's original recording and the Kingston Trio's original release of the title track, which I have the Youngbloods version of on my YouTube playlist, video playlist at number 307. The Beatles' original, Revolution. Henson Cargill's original, Skipper Rope, which I'll do on a future video. Ernie Lieberman's original, The Strangest Dream, Last Night I Had the Strangest Dream. Once again, Glenn Campbell, conducted by Al Valori's original, Rich Lineman, and another song making a repeat appearance, Nelson's original, Without You, appearing here under the title Without Her. There are 195 more cover versions of Words. And now, I'm going to tell you all a little bit about the Bee Gees. In the artist bio section, here we go now. Here's some information about the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees were a musical group formed in 1958 by brothers Barry, born Barry Allen Crompton Gibb on September 1st, 1946, so his age is now 79, in Douglas, Isle of Man. Robin, born Robin Hugh Gibb on December 22nd, 1949 in Douglas, Isle of Man, and died of kidney failure on May 20th, 2012 in London, England, aged 62. And Maurice Gibb, born Maurice Ernest Gibb on December 22nd, 1949 in Douglas, Isle of Man, and died of cardiac arrest on January 12, 2003 in Miami Beach, Florida, aged 53. The trio was especially successful in popular music in the late 1960s and early 1970s, and later as prominent performers in the disco music era in the mid to late 1970s. The group sang recognizable three-part tight harmonies. Robin's clear vibrato lead vocals were a hallmark of their earlier hits, while Barry's R&B falsetto became their signature sound during the mid to late 1970s and 1980s. The group wrote all their own original material, as well as writing and producing several major hits for other artists, and are regarded as one of the most important and influential acts in pop music history. They have been referred to in the media as the Disco Kings, Britain's first family of harmony, and the Kings of Dance Music. Born to English parents, the Gibb brothers lived in Charlton, Manchester, England, until the late 1950s. There, in 1955, they formed the skiffle rock and roll group, the Rattlesnakes. The family then moved to Redcliffe in the Moreton Bay region, Queensland, Australia, and later to Crib Island. After achieving their first chart successes in Australia as the Bee Gees, they returned to the UK in January 1967 when producer Robert Stigwood began promoting them to a worldwide audience. The Bee Gees' Saturday Night Fever soundtrack of 1977 was the turning point of their career, with both the film and soundtrack having a cultural impact throughout the world, enhancing the disco scene's mainstream appeal. They won 5 Grammy Awards for Saturday Night Fever, including Album of the Year. The Bee Gees have sold an estimated 120 million to 250 million records worldwide, placing them among the best-selling music artists of all time, as well as the most successful trio in the history of contemporary music. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997. The Hall's citation stating at the time, quote, "Only Elvis Presley, the Beatles, Michael Jackson, Garth Brooks, and Paul McCartney have outsold the Bee Gees," unquote. With 9 #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100, the Bee Gees are the 3rd most successful band in Billboard charts history, behind only the Beatles and the Supremes. Following Maurice's death, Barry and Robin retired from the group after 45 years of activity. However, in 2009, Robin announced that he and Barry had agreed the Bee Gees would reform and perform again. Colin Peterson died in 2024, age 78. He was the drummer, born Frederick Colin Peterson on March 24, 1946 in Kingaroy, Queensland, Australia. Died of natural causes on November 18, 2024, age 78. Leaving Barry, Vince Maloney, who was born Vincent Maloney on August 18, 1945 in Sydney, Australia, so his age is now 80. And Jeff Bridgeford, a drummer born in Melbourne, Australia, in the county of Victoria, Australia, who left the Bee Gees in 1972 as the surviving members of the group. Now here's some information about the discography and recording history of the Bee Gees. The discography of the Bee Gees consists of 22 studio albums, 4 soundtrack albums, 2 live albums, 22 compilation albums, 86 singles, and 38 music videos. A total of 1,635 records were released on the Bee Gees, both as a group and with other artists, between 1963 and 2016. They recorded for the Leiden, Spin, Festival, Polydor, Atlantic, RSO, Warner Brothers, and Capitol labels. Atlantic is basically Atco, as I mentioned it earlier. And now, back to the words script once again for the last little bit here. We have the last page. Yes, sir. This is very close to the end now, folks. Now here's some information about the awards won by Words. The single has been certified gold in Austria, for sales of 25,000, gold in Germany for sales of 250,000, and platinum in the UK for sales of 600,000. And now, I'm going to sing Words. Let's do this thing. Alrighty. Here we go now. Words by the Bee Gees. Got the old atomic karaoke version here. Oops, better get my lyric sheet here because I screwed up the words on the screen there. Look at the words screen here. The words lyric sheet here where I can find it. It's at the very bottom of all these records, of course. There it is right here. Okay. Let's do words. Let's go. Alright. Now, I'm going to have to sit first before I start singing because I'm going to croak. All this talking. Alright. Should do me. Let's get it on. Words now. Let's do her. Words by the Bee Gees, co-written by Barry Gibb, Maurice Gibb, and Robin Gibb. Smile, an everlasting smile. A smile can bring you near to me. Don't ever let me find you gone, 'cause that would bring a tear to me. This world has lost its glory. Let's start a brand new story now, my love. show you how my love, whoops, I screwed that up, talk in everlasting words and dedicate them all to me. And I will give you all my life. I'm here if you should call to me. You think that I don't even mean a single word I say. It's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away. You think that I don't even mean a single word I say. It's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away. It's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away. It's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away. Woo! Here we go. Words by the Bee Gees, 1968. Woo boy. Oh well, I screwed up part of it, but what the heck. It's been a while since I actually practiced that thing until today, so I screwed it up when I was practicing earlier too, so there you go. Alright, well, that was a long video, but hey, I got her done. And next, of course, I'm going to be switching back to another topic that I love to do videos on, which is, of course, the sports videos. But this one it's not going to be a sports video. It's actually going to be the actor and actress TV and movie, classic movie and TV actor and actress video that I'm going to work on the 9th, coming up in a few days. Yep. Which is, what day is that? The 9th is Tuesday, yeah. I'll be working on that on Tuesday. So look forward to that. It's going to be fun. We'll find out then what the topic will be. I do not know yet. I'll choose that on the 9th itself. So thanks for watching and listening, everybody. It was a long video, but I hope you all enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed doing it for you, and we'll be back soon. Have a good day. Bye now.